All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We got the start of earnings season ahead of us, and ever since Friday, all investors have been talking about is the attacks in the Middle East and war bringing back volatility to the markets. So the futures didn't go too crazy just yet. They haven't opened up, but the starting bids, it doesn't look like anything nuts. And even Saudi Arabia overnight, they didn't do too bad. They were the first market to open up, but a lot of people have been worried about this, and now this week we got earnings, geopolitical tensions, and a little bit of data. So, Chad, I have everything for you. I got the plays, I have the keys, even all of the earnings for this week. What I need from you, a thumbs up on the video, make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/the stock market. We will see you there in the morning. Run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, off the bat, before we get into the keys, let's take a look at the market with everything that happened over the weekend. Again, there was a lot of tension, a lot of worry, and to start with all of that, remember Friday, that was a reason why we went down. The only other bad thing that happened on Friday was that the bank earnings got off to a pretty weak start, just in terms of one aspect. It's not like they had really bad earnings, but we started fading. There was a little bit of data, but the war drama, that was dominating headlines, and even though there was an attack over the weekend, futures are up a quarter right now. Gold is only up by 0.03, about to go negative, and then the main event, oil, which some people are saying will go to 100, it's starting off negative. So we'll see where this goes throughout the night. So far, the only update has been that the attack is over. Iran said that the situation is concluded, if that's where they want to leave it, but even Israel said they might want to retaliate to the retaliation. So we're going to get a lot of drama this week. We'll see how that plays into everything else. And before that, too, before I get into the other keys, don't forget, today is Sunday, tomorrow's Monday. This is the random account generator. We closed out for 1,000% the nugget. You guys hit one not too long ago, but what we ask on this watch list, you post a random option trade, keep it below $100, and we are going to buy that option. Post the strike price, all of that, expiration, good stuff. Okay, but now let us get into the keys. So like I'm saying, I'm all over the place. War. There was a lot that we were dealing with Friday and over the weekend. We wanted to see how this is going to be opening, but besides that, earnings is going to be the main event of the week. It should dominate everything else. I told you guys last week, you're not going to get that much data. There's going to be tomorrow on Monday, retail sales, and then I think Empire Manufacturing. Those will probably be the most important for the week. You'll also get real estate data here and there, but for the most part, besides like China data and stuff overseas, there's going to be a lot of CPIs. There's not that much data, and it's going to be all about earnings. And then the week after this, we close out the month with Jerome Powell and the Fed. So not too bad, but if I could warn you against anything is just don't downplay the earnings and the earnings moves. The good part is we just got over earnings season, and we were documenting it heavily. So you guys got to see the off and on with the market, especially as it starts out. But with everything that's gone on in the market, we're going to talk about this a lot. What happens with these earnings, it is going to be key to set up the next theme pretty much till we get towards summer and then the opportunity to get your first rate cut in June. But as far as this week, we got a lot of companies tomorrow morning. Even to start off the morning, you get Goldman Sachs and Charles Schwab, even M&T Bank. That'll be related there to the banks as well, but this will be good for XLF. You're going to get a couple of more after the bell. Then Tuesday morning, United Health, Bank of America, Johnson & Johnson, Morgan Stanley, BNY Mellon, PNC, United after the bell, Interactive Brokers, JB Hunt, ASML on Wednesday, Abbott, Alcoa, Sands, Discover. Then Thursday, TSM, Netflix, Intuitive, Procter & Gamble, and American Express on Friday. Alaskan Airlines, I just skimmed over all of these. The point is you are going to hear from a lot of companies, and now we're going to get to see soft landing, hard landing. Well, is this going to buy you some time for the next couple of months with these company earnings, and can they hold the momentum from the last earnings season, which helped bring us up a lot? And before I get to the next key, that's something I've been saying because we did start off, and that's something to keep in mind. You didn't have the best bank earnings to start off on Friday. JP Morgan went down, and even though they dropped, keep in mind to start off this year, this stock was at 160 already. A lot of names still have a lot of gains. So remember, not only just policy, but the other good earnings, we have a lot of cushion here. That's why earnings, it's going to start chopping into this if it's bad. Otherwise, if we get a good earnings, it will support the next leg of the rally. So keep all of that in mind. We'll see how all of that factors in to those war headlines to start off the week. But now the other thing you got to watch out for, the back and forth on yields. So we'll see if earnings has an impact on bond yields, but the whole idea of rate cuts, inflation, and that being the main story, it still is going to be the main story. So the markets have been resilient. As long as it's been following a narrative, it's been good. And now this week, until we get into Powell, it's going to be all about the earnings. But one thing we've been talking about here is that there's kind of been a one-day delay between the relationship of bond and stocks. And pretty much the 10-year is above 4.5. And we've been saying the market may get a little sensitive. We have gone lower since all of that has happened. But last week, if you look at the last couple of days, it played out pretty interesting. The bond yields, they went lower. The market started going lower. Then the next day, bond yields popped up. TLT, IEF lower. Market was lower. Then bond yields went even higher. The market bounces back up. And then on Friday, market sells off. Bonds catch a bid. And then they close right around 4.5. There's been like a one-day delay between all of this. The point is, we may not get a signal intraday, and it may not tell us much, but the point is, as long as we're at 4.5, that watch for 4.7 now and data and the inflation worries, it is all still in play. So we are going to watch how earnings comes into all of that, but with some of the data this week, just keep in mind there is other factors we may need to juggle, and one of those will be the rates. But with all that being said now, depending on how we get into earnings, I may be speaking early because earnings is just beginning. It's going to be like even 1 week delay, and then you'll get into the next week, then another week delay, then the big dogs come out. But for the fact of the matter is, this is going to be our setup until summer. We're going to get the earnings sentiment, and that should be the guiding wind for the quarter. We'll get like 1 or 2 more data sets, but you have seen how the market has responded, even a hot PPI and CPI. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, but people are getting ready for it. I guess I'll even show you a little fun picture or a fun set of data, I guess, but people are already getting ready for some of this high inflation, and if we just repeat what we have been doing with 0.3 or 0.4, some of the averages we've gotten over the last 3 and 6 months, by the time we get to the election, we could be looking at anywhere from low 4s to high 4s on inflation. So people are getting used to the data. That's why I'm thinking the guiding wind up until June and July. Oh my gosh, I keep doing it. And everybody's getting ready for that. It is going to be these earnings. So we'll see where it takes us. And it's either going to help this rally hold up, or we will cool down a little bit if the earnings sentiment takes a breather. We get guide downs, and then everybody calms down until Powell and the data starts giving into things. Otherwise, before you know it, it'll be summer, and then the election will get even more hyped up, and then we're going to really find out if Powell's going to cut. But now, let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got a couple of different plays in this week. We might do the earnings previews. We're going to see. It is starting off, but we do got some of the big names to start off. And to start off with the first one, Netflix, TSM, and ASML. These are going to probably be the better earnings of this week. Now, I may miss a couple. Maybe we get a surprise out of Goldman, and some of the banks are even United, or even, I think it was at Caesars or Sands. There's a couple of random industries reporting, so maybe we will get surprisers. But other than that, Netflix, TSM, ASML, these are probably going to be your biggest movers. They could affect a lot of other sympathies, and they're big movers and already have high valuations. These these are those tech where we want to see, are they going to set out a story that makes them a safe haven? And remember, even Netflix last quarter, they did good. We talked about that $600. They held it up. Remember, if you report here, you could prove whether or not you're going to get the immunity idol from wherever the 10-year rates and everything else goes from here or leading into June. So watch out for these. We will go over these plays in those previews, but that is play number 1. Then play number 2. This one, I got to start with Goldman Sachs and Bank of America. So, like I'm saying here, there's a lot of earnings on the table, but why I want to watch these is watch for the first bank to give positive net interest income guidance. And essentially, all of the banks on Friday, they reported good. There wasn't anything bad, but net and interest income, NII, there was nothing to be heard from any of them. So, a lot of analysts have kind of been waiting for it. That's been the real big driver for these bank stocks. So, watch for the first bank stock to have good guidance on that, and I really think the market is going to reward them. And quite frankly, we just haven't started off with any good earnings so far, so see who will be the first one to start it off. But have no plays on any of those. We'll watch Goldman tomorrow morning, even for the press conference and post earnings. That one should be fun, even intraday right off the bell, so watch out for that. Play number 2, and then finally play number 3, baby. Gold, man, the majestic metal. I have to bring it up, man. Why? Because there's a lot going on. I mean, on Friday, I think I was down like $10,000 on my short. Then it came back down to $600. I think right now I'm down about $2,000 as it's opening up. So we're going to deal with this a little bit. And I wanted to close it on Friday for a loss, but I was like, well, if I'm going to close it, I knew I was going to get back into it. I didn't want to go long, so I said I'll wait, but I do think there's going to be a lot of action on it this week. Not only the movements last week, but everything going on with what we saw overseas, even some earnings. We'll find out if we could get a conclusion to this craziness. Otherwise, it's going to continue, but these 2, 3, 4% weeks on gold, I mean, I was saying it just reminds me of having a lot of juice intraday, and maybe you don't want to trade anything else or you get bothered or bogged down with the earnings. There's a lot of action here, but with everything going on with the headlines, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on this. So watching out for that. Other than that, no other plays. I did close out of the, I think it was like CTRX, that biotech from last week. Then I closed out the Marvel. That was the day before on Thursday. And other than that, just been riding out these plays. And I think gold, oil, bonds will give us a lot to deal with this week. Otherwise, we'll run our calculations on earnings, see what everything's pricing in, and hopefully it's cheap. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydrate Healthy ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, a world with hope is all you need, baby. Without it, it's a lot different. So keep it alive. And remember, that's one of the daily blessings. But Chad, I love you. Drink that water. Stay hydrated and healthy. Hopefully you got some rest this week, because last week was already crazy and we got a lot more to deal with. But I love you. I'll see you on the AM and or not.